Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm bringing you guys a deck guide for Dummy on the updated TF Nami deck. This is by far the most requested deck guide for dummies that I've gotten this season, so I finally decided to go ahead and do it for you guys, especially since it's a week before seasonals. I don't recommend picking up a new deck, 5 days before a seasonal tournament, but if that's what you want to do, hopefully this can help you out. Or maybe if you're already playing some TF Nami and you just need to figure out like a little, just a couple things before you played it in seasonals, then this is going to be for you guys. But before we get into the video and the deck guide, I want to remind you guys that 68% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you could do me a huge favor, click that subscribe button, comment, like down all below, all that type of stuff for the YouTube algorithm. It helped me out so much, and I'd really appreciate it. And then the biggest thing is join my Discord. It's the #1 place for competitive LoR content. It's where I post all my written deck guides. People are in there talking about Gauntlet seasonal lineups. I know there's a lot of people talked about like what they were going to play in Gauntlet, and people posting their prime glories. They qualified through seasonals, or qualified for seasonals through Gauntlet, Last Chance Gauntlet. People are posting how they're getting to Platinum, Diamond, Masters, all their achieved rank, stuff like that. Competitive discussions all day, every day. So if you're interested in getting into competitive LOR, or you're looking for a place to talk about competitive LOR, my Discord is the place to do it. Links down in the description below. So that's going to be for the intro. So let's go ahead and just look at the deck guide, kind of give you an idea of how TF Nami wants to play. And then I'm going to play a bunch of games for you guys. That's going to be a little bit different, but we'll touch on that later on. So first off, we're going to look at this deck, and the deck list is literally the exact same from last season, except I took out the Tentacle Smash and the 1 Answered Prayer for 3 Gohards and a 3rd Eye of Nagakoboros. You don't really need to play Answered Prayers if you're not playing Tentacle Slam, because Answered Prayer is just kind of like a not good card. So I'd rather just have it as a 3rd Eye to kind of get more consistency in there, and having an extra spell to play on turn 4 is really nice, and then being able to filter out your hand is really nice. And then at the moment I'm on 3 Gohard. I honestly don't think 3 Gohard is the overall play. But I think at the moment, especially for this week, if you want to use this deck to climb for that last week push of making it to Masters or making it to Seasonals or whatever it is your goal is, I would recommend 3 Gohard, because the meta is extremely aggro right now. It's everyone trying to push with their super fast, super aggro decks. People are trying to push for their ranks really quickly. So Gohard, extremely important in those aggro matchups, helps out a ton. But overall, I'm hoping we get a new replacement for Tentacle Slam printed in the new set. That would be extremely good. That would be really useful. But I've seen people play things like Line Them Up, Knock Them Down in place of Gohard. People have played Chum the Waters instead of Gohard, because it also is, 4 mana, gives you a unit spawned, can be a pseudo removal spell. So like, there's a lot of cards I've seen people play in place of Tentacle Slam or Tentacle Smash that's been okay. But right now I'm kind of on the Gohard, and I think for this week, Gohard's going to be correct. But going into the next season and next meta, I'm not 100% sure. That's going to be your 3 flex spots for basically anything you see fit in whatever your pocket meta is. Yeah, outside of that, TF Nami is a combo deck. You're basically trying to level up Nami as fast as possible. Trying to think of ways of, okay, how can I level up my Nami? How do I progress my Nami? Does this play let me level up my Nami while also saving my HP? Because HP is a resource, but you kind of have to balance out, okay, how much damage can I take here versus how greedy can I be to get that spell mana for Nami? Against aggro decks, typically you don't care about leveling up Nami. You just want to double trouble. I'm going to have a written mulligan guide and a written guide for TF Nami in my Discord. It was written for last season, but I'm going to go ahead and update it for this season. But the entire game plan of how Nami plays out is exactly the same. Of how do you play Nami, the general idea of Nami and stuff like that is all the complete same. So that's going to be still very useful. And then as far as just the mulligan guides and the matchup guides go, I'll go and update that for this season. So if you are interested in mulligan guide, all that type of stuff, join my Discord, and then it will be in the written deck guide channel, which is in my Discord channel, where you can download the text document, or you can just read it through Discord UI, but the Discord UI makes it look really ugly, so there's that. Yeah, so that's just about everything. You typically win with elusives and Nami just buffing your elusives a lot. Admiral Shelley elusives a lot. Harrowing is really good for your control or slow matchups. Harrowing is just kind of like an I win the game tool against your Nami, or against any TF. This is going to be an I win the game tool for sure. Against really any slow Noxus control deck, this is an I win the game tool. Against most slow decks in general, this is an I win the game tool. Your only counterplay really is Ruination. So unless they're running Ruination, then you're probably not too worried about it, and Heroic's going to win you the game. Outside of that, this deck is kind of straightforward. It's one of those decks where it's hard to explain to you how to play it outside of the very, very basic curves, because there's so many unique curves and unique lines that come up that you kind of have to just experience them. And then once it happens, you kind of think back to yourself like, okay, what ended up being like, what are my options here? And then you do one, and then you look back after at your game and you say, okay, so what would have been better there? And it's just a lot of trial and error and a lot of learning. If I could sit here and explain to you every single unique curve and every single unique situation I found myself in, this video would be 10 hours long between the, literal hundreds of games I've played and the hours I've spent on this deck. This video would be extremely long, so I can't do that. If you ever have a question, like if you found yourself in a scenario and you have like a screenshot of it or a clip of it and you want to know my opinion, go ahead, feel free to do that. Put it in the Discord and just at me and say, hey, at Mo, what would you have played here? What would you have done here? What do you think? Stuff like that. And I'll try and give my best, with the information I was given, give my best response of like, oh, well, I probably would have looked for this, done that, or you're right here and doing this. So yeah, feel free to do that in the Discord as well. But yeah, outside of that, your general curve is just pass on turn 1, pass on turn 2, double trouble or Vile Feast. Your whatever gets you the most amount of spell mana for Nami is going to be your best curve possible. Whether that's, again, pass on turn 1, pass on turn 2, double trouble, or if it's pass on turn 1, Coral Creatures turn 2 into Vile Feast or Glimpse turn 3. Like whatever it is that gets you the most amount of spell mana, make sure you count that out and then do whatever that play is. Again, there's a bunch of different curves you can learn with this deck. There's a bunch of different curves to give you spell mana. They said there's Coral Creatures on 2 into Glimpse or Vile Feast. That gives you 3 spell mana on 4. There's just pass double trouble is the easiest. You can play like Eye of Nagumoros on turn 4 quite often. There's just so many things in this deck that you really have to play to experience the different curves. But I will help you, the help of this, instead of just telling you, oh, well, this deck guide is going to be telling you play the deck, lol, is the very, very important thing, and the thing you're always going to want to be looking for, is how do you level up Nami? How do you get the most amount of spell mana possible? And that will let you figure out what curve you need to be doing based on asking yourself the question, how do I get the most amount of spell mana possible? So that's going to be it for this, the deck portion. I'm going over the deck. I know that was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I have a bunch of gameplay here for you guys, a bunch of high quality games that I recorded off stream, and there's going to be voiceover, so it's not going to be live played. So I hope you guys aren't too upset about that, but I wanted to make sure I gave you guys like the highest quality games I could have given you. So I wanted to play when I didn't have any distractions, no live stream chat to entertain, and no me talking through my plays to you guys explaining why I was doing it. So I just basically blasted music and wanted to try as hard as I could, and then I think it was like 4 or 5 really good games in a row that I won. And so I'm going to go ahead and voice over those now for you guys and kind of talk about what I was doing, why I was doing it, what I looked for, why I ended up winning. Some of these games I was in horrendous spots. I opened with like the worst possible hand, and I still ended up winning. So they're really good games. I hope you guys enjoy them and enjoy the voiceover content, stuff like that. Yeah, that's going to be it. Let's get into the games. Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm going to be doing a different kind of video. So I already went over Nami TF at the start. I kind of showed you guys the deck list and everything. And then so what I'm doing now is I played a bunch of really good games, just kind of in try-hard mode, and I like had music blasting, all that type of stuff. So what I want to do now is go back over those games and kind of do a voiceover while they're playing for you guys and give you an idea of why I did some stuff, instead of just showing you like musicless gameplay and no sound gameplay. I wanted to give you my thoughts and reasoning behind everything, but I also wanted to make sure you guys got the most like the highest quality gameplay possible in a guide meant to teach you how to play the deck well. So that's why I decided to do a try hard stream or a try hard series of videos. So here my first matchup is against aggro, so we'll go and we'll talk about the mulligan here. And then the videos will be really quick. I'm playing on like 1.5 speed, and so that way it's not too long. And then we're gonna watch like I got like 3 or 4 videos like right in a row. That felt pretty good. So yeah, so here we're against aggro. So against pirates, and you see him immediately mulligan away everything that's not what everything that's not like go hard, Vile Feast, double trouble. That's essentially all you're looking for in aggros. You don't really care too much about Nami level up. You just want to make sure you take the least amount of damage possible. And this hand's pretty bad. We have the Vile Feast, but outside of Vile Feast, this hand sucks ass. And if they play a 3-2, Vile Feast doesn't really do too much because they usually open with at least 2 units here. And Vile Feast doesn't do too much for that. And we immediately drew Burblefish, which is, again, one of the worst cards you could have in this matchup early. And so your hand is essentially 4 dead cards, and the TF will be useful on turn 4, but that would require us to take a bunch of damage here on turn 3. So, for instance, if they just developed here a bunch of cards and then open attacked us, we'd lose. And yeah, so that's what I think they're going to do here. So I was thinking, okay, well, I definitely lost this game. And then they randomly develop a Misfortune. And I'm just like, okay, so TF red card's good here. The reason I didn't keep my Spiderling around and try to do something with the Tellstones was because if I take that 3 damage on turn 1 and they have like a Marco, or they have a Make It Rain or something to force out the Marcoviles on my turn, then I'm just in an absolutely atrocious spot. So I decided I'd be better off blocking the 3-2 and setting up for a TF. So here I thought about countering the Fervor with the Kindred spell, but I realized it wasn't worth it. I'd rather just take the 3 damage here than the 4 damage from the Misfortune open attack, because I don't really have a good blocker here. So I think I just slammed Nami because I figured Nami isn't going to be doing too much for me here. I mostly just want to not die. And I want to make sure I can protect myself from a bad open attack. They're already down to 3 cards in hand, and anytime you play against aggro, your main goal or your main game plan against aggro is just to run them out of cards. So once they start getting really, really low on cards, you're pretty happy. So here we drew a 2-1, we got our Burblefish, so they have Decimate, so we know their hand's at least 1 spell, probably 2 spells at this point, because if they had any unit, they would have played it. They would have probably played it to attack us. So now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to do this go hard. And I'm trying to bait out the second Fervor, but that kind of just told me that he probably doesn't have Fervor. Also, this spell was on the right side of his hand, so we know his hand is still, whatever spell he got off of Zap Sprayfin, and then 2 cards he just drew for turn. So here, I'm just trying to clear the board as much as possible, set up for a really good time. So we have TF going in, where I think I'm in a full swing here because I'm basically putting him at a spot where I lose. Here, I'll pause it here for a second. Basically, I'm at a point where I only lose to burn. Like, I will never take a single point of unit damage again. The only thing I lose to is burn. So after thinking, I'm thinking to myself, how do I stop that? How do I stop him from killing me with like Decimates and Fervors? And basically the second Tellstones in my hand is solely going to be used to counter a Noxian Fervor or a Demolitionist or some sort of point and click damage like that. And as far as like Decimates go, I can't really do anything about it. They've already played 1 Decimate, so the odds of them having all of the Decimates is going to be really rough. And here was a misplay. I parlayed the 2-1, and I'm thinking to myself, it's because if they have the 6 mana spell, they'd get like a really big unit that I can't deal with, when really I should have parlayed the 3-1, because if I'm going to need to counter a Noxian Fervor, I don't want to kill off the 3-1 and then have it immediately come back, because that's going to deal 1 damage to me from me killing it. And then it's going to come back and then immediately deal 1 more damage to me. Or it'll come back and deal another damage to me eventually. So I'll go for this block here. I just really pray he doesn't have Fervor, doesn't want to use it, and he doesn't, so it makes me happy. And then he kind of throws the game away here. Opponent does, or I guess they throw the game away here because they Noxie and Fervor my 3-3. And I realize at this point I probably can't lose the game ever. It'd have to be exactly like 2nd Decimate and 3rd Decimate. And I'm trying to decide, I'm doing the math here. If I Tellstones to buff my board +1/+1 each, is it the same or less damage than just using the Tellstones to hit him? And it came out to be the same damage, so I figured I might as well save the Tellstones. So here I TF, I'm 2 off lethal. So I figured I'll just TF blue card, try and draw into more lethal, draw into, some sort of unit that can help me out here. I don't. I draw into Glimpse, but it helps me out here. I immediately start getting to drawing cards. I take 2, so I'm at 6. So I'm basically just decimate and then 2 points of burn away from lethal. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and draw some more because I figured if he wants to stop this with a, what is it called? If he wants to stop it with a Noctian Fervor, then go ahead. That means that we can basically never lose the game again. And then I always have this blocker for their 3/3 unless if they go to have Make It Rain, right? So that was my thought process. Was the only way I get punished by that, what is it called? By that play was Make It Rain, and they had the Make It Rain, but they didn't want to use it. So this is pretty good. I'm debating whether or not I attack here because I get punished again by exactly like second Make It Rain, but then I realize that I can't beat second Make It Rain anyways. That he kind of just has it. If they have second Make It Rain, they have it. I can't stop it. So we just set up for the go hard here, try and gain a little bit more life, try and make it so we don't die to like decimate, Make It Rain or decimate Grenadier trigger. Every 1 point of life is super important here. So this is a very important spot. I immediately pop off the Spirit Journey because I can't interact with like decimate, but I can't interact with this point of burn. And I figured if they have this or Fervor, like if this last card in their hand is Fervor, then I'm still saving 2 HP by getting rid of the Demolitionist trigger, which, is perfectly fine by me. I go to 3, and then they have to top deck exactly, then they're completely out of Fervors, so I just went on the open attack no matter what, because I still have this elusive unit plus Telstones plus Nami. So I win no matter what, so I'm like, yeah, I'll just get rid of this, cancel the 2 damage here, make it to where it's literally impossible to kill me. Play my Nami. It turns out the last card in their hand is a Decimate. Spoiler alert, we'll go and skip to the end here. The last card in their hand was a Decimate, so I go down to 2, and then, I just open attack with Elusives and win the game. So that's how you play against aggro, even with a really bad starting hand. This is a really important thing for ladder also, is your opponents aren't going to be the greatest on average, so you kind of just have to set up for the best scenarios possible and then let your opponent misplay. And if my opponent just open attacked me here, I lose this game 1,000% of the time. There's 100% of the time I lose this game because I'm about to take the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. I immediately go to 10 HP just off of that attack alone, and instead I go to 17. Right, so you kind of just have to put yourself in the best case scenario and say, how do I find a win here? And sometimes you don't find a win by playing perfect. You find a win by your opponent misplaying, and that's just as important as knowing how to win. So here I queue against what is this? It's like Elise Katarina Gwyn or something, or Elise Annie Gwyn, and I don't really know what it is. But I assume it's the really slow control deck, so I mulligan accordingly. Have my Annie, my Shellfolk, my TF, all that type of stuff. So here, I'm just trying to get as much value as possible. I'm trying to decide, do I need to Vile Feast right now? Can I be greedy and go for my Nami level up and Vile Feast? And yeah, so I figured I'll just go ahead and be greedy because these decks don't play too much like burn. They didn't open with the Conservatory. I don't even know if these decks are still playing Conservatory, but they didn't open with Conservatory. So I know I'm not going to be facing down like a tie bulk really early or anything. Here, really important, I rolled a 1/1 tough. So if they had a Go Hard or something, or a Vile Feast, I would have been chilling. So here, I'm just going to set up for a really nice Twisted Fate, do some of this, go ahead and Vile Feast the Annie also. Really good open attack by opponent, but yeah, I'm just going to Vile Feast Annie. I think I end up just playing the Nami. Because, yeah, he slams Catalog, and I realized this gets punished by Go Hard a little bit, but they were going to Go Hard anyways, and I didn't want to take the full pass. I'd rather just be really greedy and level up my Nami. Playing the Twist of Fate wouldn't have leveled up Nami, because obviously I won the Twist of Fate red card. So at least this way, I could go play TF red card, and if they go for the Ravenous Flock or a Scorched Earth here, I can immediately get my Nami value. So I go for Mark of the Isles and actually buff my Nami here. And the reason I buff Nami is because the Nami lives with 1 HP, and we know they have the fleeting Go Hard. So now, if they want to, we'll move this up to 2.0 speed. Now if they want to go hard us, they have to either go hard our Nami to prevent us from attacking them, or they go hard something else. My Nami gets to attack them for 5 HP or for 5 damage, and I'm totally happy with that, right? So if they use the go hard on the Nami, then they're not setting up for Flock next turn, and they have a completely useless catalog item at the moment. Or they'll have to have another spell in hand to set up. And that's the big important thing about catalog, is knowing when to force out cards in their hand versus when their catalog cards are useless. So here they have like Vile Feast. We know they have the Flock, so I'm just like, yeah, sounds good. We're going to go ahead and play spells, force out the Flock, make them a little bit scared here. We're going to just try and get as much life saved as possible, because we are getting, kind of low. We're at 10. I know these decks play Ledros, or I don't know, but I assume these decks play Ledros and stuff. So we know they have Vile Feast, so Vile Feast, Disintegrate. So again, we're running our opponent down on cards because these Noxus control decks are so fucking bad. They constantly have to 2-for-1 themselves. So we're just going to open attack here. And the reason I full attack here before go harding anything, you're like, well, why don't you go hard a Spider? It's because I want my opponent to mess up. This is exactly going back to the last game where it's important to try and get your opponent in a spot where they could mess up more than you just play perfectly. So we get them to mess up. They try to get a value block with the Gwyn, and we get to punish it with a go hard. So here we know they have Vile Feast off of catalogs. They have Disintegrate off of catalog. I don't remember. They had to Disintegrate off of catalog because the Vile Feast was fleeting from the previous turn. So here we know they have this. We're just going to quick pass because we know they're trying to set up for Tibbers. So we let them do that. They end up Tibbering the 1/1, which kills off the TF. So they made it very clear what their game plan was here. So they did it anyways. I wish I had a way to punish. Like, I wish I had like a Nami or something really big to punish this, or a Shellfolk, but I don't. So I just have to Vile Feast the 1/1 Spider here. And we're not too worried about the Tibbers hitting us for 6, because again, these decks don't play too much burn. Like, they're not the Bilgewater version that randomly kills you with Make It Rain, or with what is his name? Like Riptide Rex. So I get this random spell off of my Conservator, and I go ahead and play it because I think I'm trying to just play Harrowing this turn. So unfortunately, they had Glimpse was their top decked card, so they're going to just draw a bunch of cards. Off of the Glimpse, they draw the Noxus draw spell. So they end up drawing a shit ton of cards here, and I get really scared. There's no reason for me to go hard here because I don't want them to. I don't think we actually get too much value out of the go hard. So we just go for the open attack. I think we put them to like 5 or something. We put them to 8. And the very important thing here is we're not dead to go hard. So they either have fleeting go hard or the fleeting overgrowth. So it was the fleeting overgrowth. And that's why I didn't want to play any units. I didn't want to play any cards. Is because I just wanted to waste that fleeting card out of their hand. I think I just attacked them for 5 here. Yeah, I don't want to play into Ruination. I don't have open Decklist here, so I don't know what exactly to play around. I just know I have to play around Pack Your Bags, so there it is. And I don't know if they're playing like the 1 mana deal 1 damage spell. I don't know like really anything that they're playing that could deal direct damage to me. If they're playing like Unspeakable Horror or anything like that. So I was going to opt in for the go hard here, but I really wanted to try to wait to see if I could get more value out of it, which seems pretty greedy, to be honest with you, because I think I'm supposed to just play my go hard and gain life to stop them from top decking a burn spell. So here they had their fleeting go hard from last turn. They had Vengeance, so we know they're going to get a Vengeance next turn. So I'm just going to try and play as many threats as possible to stop them from mattering. So here's a big misplay, because I was thinking to myself, like, I can just go hard whatever unit I draw, or whatever unit I play, I'll just go hard my own unit to gain my 1 HP. But then they play Scorched Earth, and I'm like, fuck, I should have just go harded my 4/3, because now if I go hard my TF, if they draw either Vengeance or Scorched Earth, it's going to stop me from gaining the 1 HP. So what I do is I just play my Zap Spray Fin, and I see what they want to do. So they have Vile Feast, which makes me kind of sad. I just immediately go for the Go Hard on the 1/1. I know their top decked card was Vile Feast. I think if they would have drawn the burn, like the deal 1 damage spell, they would have played it by now anyways. So I just say, okay, I deal my 2, Go Hard my own unit for a couple of reasons here. 1, I wanted to gain more life. 2, there's not any unit that they could really play. So there again, I passed to kind of burn the Vile Feast. But 2, there's nothing that they play that I really want to Go Hard. And 3, I want to stop them from casting Go Hards, right? So I know that they're going to have a bunch of Go Hard shuffle into their deck. So I really wanted to stop them from playing it. So here, they're setting up for another Pack Your Bags next turn. Like, we know for a fact they're going to have Pack Your Bags. We drew the Telstones off the top. So we open attack. Even if they had lethal, we found the Telstone. So we had exact lethal on them anyways. If we didn't have lethal this turn, they would have just had Pack Your Bags next turn, and we would have lost, and it would have been fairly sad. Another line we could have gone for is if we didn't have lethal with the Telstones, we could have just used it to crumble away the their landmark, so that way they don't get guaranteed Pack Your Bags next turn. So here, I play against, I don't really know what this is. It's Sejuani Gwyn. I assume it's just some sort of like value overwhelm, like kill you with atrocity style deck. So I don't really feel like I'm gonna get aggro down too much. So I mulligan away the Go Hard. I basically just hard look for my Nami. That's basically all I look for here. So I think I pass here because I'm just trying to level up my Nami. Don't really need to do anything. Try to find good cards. They play 3/1 here. I just go to Vile Feast it. And then I'm just going to go to Telstones away to save HP. I think they end up having a 1-drop here afterwards. Yeah, so I basically have a couple options. I could just drop the Nami just to have to like try and trade with something. But I realize that doesn't work out too well because they just end up attacking with the 2/1 first, and it turns into a 3/2, and then my Nami just gets sad. So I figured I'm probably not under too much pressure. I don't think this deck is very good for my opponent, so I'm just going to be on this, try to level my Nami game plan. So I think I just play Nami blue card here, and then pass. I can also just see myself open passing here. Yeah, there's not really too much to do because I really want to level this Nami, because as soon as I level Nami, I kind of just win the game. And we're at an awkward spot where like I could play Nami, but it doesn't actually do too much. I could play the 5-mana spell to get a blocker and use my spell mana, but that does less than Nami does, I think. So he goes under the mana for like Vengeance or any type of interaction. So I'm just going to go ahead and slam Nami. And then I think I just slam Nami. I think I slammed Nami. I would slam Nami here. Looking back at it, I would tell myself to slam Nami, and then I could just Telstones next turn to protect it from any type of protection. But it looks like I'm just going to go TF blue card. It's the same amount of spell mana Nami gets me, except if I need to block with TF, I'm a lot happier blocking with TF than I am with Nami, because I kind of need this Nami to win. And the reason I don't attack there with TF is because they could have some random, like, I don't know, Brittle Steel or Elixir of Iron or something to make my TF die and their unit not die. So here I just pass because I want the 3 spell mana. And now that tells me that their hand's pretty clunky, because they had 6, I think they had like 5 unit mana and didn't do anything with it. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to slam down this Nami. They go to Vengeance, and then yeah, so here's the Spirit Journey play I was talking about last turn that I could have done. But this makes me happy. I mean, it's the same situation, except I had a good blocker. So good job on Past Mark for, you know, being better. And yeah, so I'm just going to do that, and I get my 2 damage in with Elusive, and I think it's pretty done from here, because I don't think, again, I'm in another spot where I basically just never take unit damage again. I'm in a very awkward scenario where I should have just Vengeance the Gwyn, because what ends up happening here is I end up trading away both of these units, including my Burblefish, to kill off like all their stuff. What I could have done is I could have just Vengeanced the Gwyn here. It would have buffed my Burblefish up to a 3/2, which would have been enough to sacrifice. If I was going to sacrifice Burblefish anyways, I should have just done that. Or sorry, 4/2, and then killed off the Fearsome unit. Where instead here, what ends up happening is I sacrifice away a different unit also, which kind of makes me sad. So yeah, so I do that, and I just end up playing units. They end up entombing their Gwyn, And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. So I immediately just think they have second Gwyn. So I'm trying to think of how do I beat that. And the important answer is now, again, like I said, I basically have this game won. The only thing that matters is that I don't die to Atrocity. I'm never taking unit damage again. I'll take the 2 drain damage. I guess they play Doom Beast. That kind of caught me off guard. And then I assumed I was going to take the 2 drain from the Gwyns whenever they both attack me next turn. Yeah, so they did this weird pass, which looking back at it, I should have just taken because I knew they were trying to play 2 Gwyns. But instead I attack, and then they play the Gwyn post-combat, and I thought that was really stupid. And I was like, man, that was a really dumb play for my opponent, and I kind of rewarded it by, I don't know, just rewarding it. So yeah, so I end up just attacking here, block, and then I go for a glimpse to stop their Gwyns from leveling, so that way I'm not under any like crazy threats next turn. And then yeah, and then so I'm basically just at a point to where all I need to do is make sure I don't die to Atrocity. So I think I just go hard and then just hard pass here, because the only thing that matters to me is baiting out the Atrocity in their hand and then stopping it with a Vengeance. So I make sure to never tap under Vengeance mana. I think I go hard again. And then, yeah, I should just be playing spells to kind of work up these elusive units and to killing my opponent. I think I misplay and drag the game out for a little bit longer because I end up playing non-elusive units. Yeah, I was going to try and TF gold card here. And something I didn't know was I didn't know if the gold card, which one it was going to hit. And obviously, I really want the gold card to hit the non-vulnerable unit, because then I can just drag the vulnerable unit to the side with this like Vile Feast that I drew. I get a 1/1 spider and then drag it to the side. So I'm not sure which I wanted to do. So I think I just go for like Parlay Vile Feast here, because it still gives me mana to have the Atrocity, or to stop Atrocity, but I quickly realized like they can't Atrocity me. So here I'm taking a long time to basically play around a card that doesn't exist right now, because I forget that Gwyn's power and power goes back down after the turn ends. So here I roll another elusive, and my opponent's pretty tilted about it, which I understand. I mean, rolling elusive is pretty high rolly. So I just go to try and clear away as many blockers as possible. I don't know exactly what he does here. I think he kills his own unit or something. Yeah, he Unspeakable Horrors his own unit, and then basically this game's done. There's not too much to watch. I basically kill off one of their Gwyns. They play Sejuani. I gold card the Sejuani, and then yeah, I basically just block forever, never go under Vengeance mana, and then immediately kill them with elusives. Yeah, kill them with elusive, show the red card for the last point of damage. They go for Atrocity, we Vengeance. So yeah, this is just another game to show you a lot about how HP is a really big resource, and knowing how you lose is extremely important, and to not doing that thing. Like, if you know you lose to exactly Vengeance, try your hardest to not lose to Vengeance, just play around Vengeance, right? So like right there, we knew the only way we lost was to Vengeance, so we spent, the entire second half of that game making sure we had, not Vengeance, Atrocity. I don't know why I kept seeing Vengeance. The only way we lose is to Atrocity, so I spent the second half of that game with Vengeance available. So here we're against Monastery, and I haven't seen this deck in a minute, so I'm trying to think of, okay, do I want to try and be aggressive? Do I need the second Nami in case they have the removal spell? And I figured, no, I have one Nami. I figured I could just try and play around the removal spell. This hand's like really nuts. We have the Double Trouble on turn 3 to have maximum, what's it called? Maximum spell mana. Ideally here you roll into like a 3/1 or something that trades, but you don't. So I just say, okay, I take all this damage. I don't block or anything. Even though I do have this go hard, I figured there's no reason for me to block the 3/3 now. I'd rather save the go hard for after I have like a Nami in play or a Shelly in play. So again here, perfect spell mana, get in for my 1 elusive damage. And yeah, this game is just an extremely standard look at Nami TF. So I don't really interact with my opponent too much, or I interact with them, but I don't really care about their game plan. So here I just go block Vile Feast, I think, because I really want to pop the vulnerable landmark, because I don't want my Nami to get vulnerable. And then I just slam Nami. Like, a couple of reasons here. One, I have triple Nami in my hand, so if they have the removal spell to kill Nami, I don't care. Two, if they have the removal spell to kill Nami, they either have to lose a mana crystal or they don't get the draw of Preservarium, and both of those things make me very happy. And it also tells me, three, they just straight up don't have it. Because if you did have a removal spell, there's no way you don't just instantly remove the Nami on site when I'm completely tapped out. Or I guess I'm not completely tapped out, but there's no way you don't just try and kill Nami on site as soon as you possibly can. So here, I'm just trying to get as much damage as possible. I'm trying to play around Quicksand, but I think I just full send it anyways. And I don't want to give my opponent the option to just click OK here and not take, 6 extra damage. So I just go ahead and I pre-commit the spell. I say, sure, buddy, show me what you got. So here, do a quick full attack here again, into the 2-1. Again, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the removal spell to kill my Nami, so I'm not too worried with my Nami taking 3 damage. And again, even if they top decked it or predicted into it or whatever, secretly were sandbagging it the whole time, I wouldn't have cared because I have second and third Nami in my hand. So they level up Azir here pretty quickly, turn 6. Turn 7, they play Xerath, and their Xerath is, I think, 2 landmarks off of popping. And we know they're going to get 1 at the start of turn because of the, the 1 mana predict thing. So I don't care. Again, I have this Nami, or I have second and third Nami in my hand, so I'm just going to threaten to trade with the Xerath. Because if you don't have Xerath in play, then I don't care if these landmarks are popping, right? And I don't want to proactively use Vengeance because they have things like Deny and Hourglass. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, if you want to trade Xerath for Nami, I'll do that trade. Because 1, I know for a fact I can replay my champion and then try to kill you next turn. And 2, you can't replay your champion and try and kill me next turn. Because, like, assuming all of this goes through, I literally just go, okay, slam Nami, threaten to kill you on open attack. Whereas they don't have enough unit mana to replay their Xerath here. So we threaten the block here. They realize, like, yeah, I didn't think they were going to do that. I need to Hourglass in order to have a chance to win. Otherwise, your Xerath doesn't level up. You don't get your Sun Disc, all that type of stuff. So once they pre-commit the Hourglass, I just Vengeance it because they're at 2 mana and there's nothing they can do. Thank you, Hourglass nerf. And then here, I just go ahead and go hard because, why did I go ahead and go hard? I think I needed the Shelly trigger if I had to guess. I think my Shelly was like, yeah, my Shelly was 1 out of 2 spells, so I figured I'm just gonna go hard my Shelly to go ahead and get the free buff spells. So then I just full send it. There's 12. Even if they had Quicksand to remove 4 attack, I still had it covered with the Telestones and stuff like that. So yeah, so those are what games look like when I'm tryharding with TF Nami, when I'm not putting any attention on anything else. I'm just hard focusing. You always find the line. It's a lot easier to play when I'm not also talking and trying to entertain a Twitch chat live or talking to explain my plays at the current time. I really just want to focus up. And yeah, so I hope you guys found that insightful. I hope that was really useful to this TF Nami guide to kind of show you what games look like being played, what my thought processes are. The biggest thing with TF Nami is knowing how low HP you can go and how much you can greed for the Nami level up, and to identify like when you're going to need to interact with your opponent's like win condition. Like really identify like, okay, I'm in an amazing spot here. How do I lose the game? And then just do your hardest to not lose. Because knowing how to win is very easy. Like, oh, I win if Nami lives and I just play all my cards and make my elusives 20/20s. Like, yeah, it's very easy to identify that, but it's a lot harder to identify how you actually lose. And once you can identify how you lose, doing your very, very best to play around you. We saw it in the Pirates game. I identified that I can't interact with Decimate, but I can interact with the Demolitionist / Fervor. So let me go ahead and do that to make sure I don't die. And then boom, I won that game. The Gwen Sejuani game, I recognize I only lose to Atrocity, so let me just make sure I keep Vengeance open 24/7. It's like, boom, okay, I did that. Let's see, that Azir game, I realized that if they want to trade Xerath for Nami, I'm okay with that because I lose if you level up Sun Disc and have a bunch of crazy stuff. So if you don't have a leveled Xerath in play and your Xerath isn't leveling up, then I'm not losing the game and I instantly win next turn. So then I force him to do the proactive thing, play Hourglass proactively, stopped my, lose con from happening, and then I immediately won the game. So that's the biggest takeaway, on top of just playing TF Nami, and that way you guys could see what my TF Nami games look like. Then the biggest takeaway is for sure just identify your lose condition and then make sure to play around it. But that's going to be it for this episode. That's going to be it for this video, for this episode of Deck Guide for Dummies with TF Nami. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot of time, a lot of effort went into this, so a lot of people asked for this. This was very requested. So hope you enjoyed it. That's going to be it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Join the Discord down, the link in the description. But that's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next video.